So trust in the workplace, you're going to meet all sorts of people. But I do think you give them the benefit of the doubt. If there are people that are going to be negative, you try to minimize your contact. If they're your boss, you might not be able to completely eliminate it. But then it goes back to what we started with earlier. That's a plan that you might have to have. But I'm assuming that most people are not that. Most people are not wicked, bad, negative. Most people are not that. So you start giving with the benefit of the doubt. And you can help people to understand sometimes when they did something. I had a situation this year where I was in a new group working together on some activities. And I noticed from the very beginning that the person that was leading the team was having really difficulty making eye contact with me. But beyond that, the person would say and do some things that sort of, it felt to me as if they were sort of demeaning my contribution or my value to the team.
Sure.
And I had to make a decision. I would not let that stand. But my action was not to like argue with this person in a meeting or say, I can't believe you did that, or tell everybody, what I decided to do, I did validate it by asking somebody else after a while if they understood if what I was saying made sense. And then I just made a one-on-one meeting with the person and talked to that person. And I said, blah, 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 small talk. And then I eventually said, I just wanted to share something with you. And I found that the words, I just wanted to share something with you, then sets it up to the person is listening. And then you get to say what you have to say. And I love to say something like this. I love to say, you probably don't realize it, but when you said so-and-so, or when you did so-and-so, this is how it made me feel, or this is what happened, or this is how my colleagues reacted. And I know you probably didn't notice that. And I just wanted you to know because I was concerned about it. And I wanted you to know. The words that I just used are words I've used many, many, many times. And I'm not saying you should use my words. But if something happens to you and you do feel like you need to react to something that makes you uncomfortable, it is always better to have a plan for how you will say it, because you really you have two objectives in conversation. You have one objective is to get your point across so that other person can hear your disappointment, your hurt, your whatever it is you want to communicate. But if they can't hear it, that you didn't accomplish the first goal. But then the second goal you have is that at the end of it, you still have a positive relationship with that person, unless of course you really don't care. But most of the time we're talking work, right? Ideally, you still have a whole relationship. So you do have to think about that. And that by no means am I suggesting that you don't seek redress if you have a problem. I'm not suggesting any of that. I am suggesting, however, it is to your advantage to manage the situation to your advantage. Lawyers always say, they don't ask you a question unless they know what the answer is already. You manage that situation. So you go in with two objectives: to get your point across in a way that they can hear it, but also to have a relationship at the end of it. That is another thing that is not easy, but can be done with practice.
Yeah, and maybe even try and game plan that with a friend or a trusted colleague or whatever. Because I think the more, the more you do it, then you can refine the way you approach that person, or and also the words you use are very important, because you just don't want to trigger somebody as well by accusing it, and then that's a whole heap of trouble. So I think keep it on a very low key basis, but I think not having the conversation is also not doing yourself any good, because you'll just get upset and then leave maybe, or
right, absolutely. And this goes true for spouses and friends as well. You sometimes have to say something to a loved one and you don't know what to say, and the worst thing you can usually do is just blurt out the first thing that comes to your mind. It's the same kind of thing, because at the end of the day, this is your relative and loved one, and you want to have a good relationship. The workplace relationships are not at the same level, but it's the same thing. It's like, take a little time to think about and don't say that, don't just be impulsive.
Yeah, one of my previous guests made the comment that you can either be right or be married.
Yeah.
It's about compromise, or in a relationship or whatever it is.
Any relationship, and that goes for the workplace as well. I mean, and then of course the follow on from that is, if you're always compromising, that is another story. You observe that over time. That we're not talking about that, because that's not good either. But we're just assuming goodwill in our interactions with people, and we give them the benefit of the doubt. We do what we do. We watch how they react, and then we go to this. We just keep moving. That's all.